The biggest of welcomes back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly, the first Pro Wrestling Weekly of 2024. Hope you're all really, really good. We've got certainly an interesting show coming up tonight. Plenty to talk about and plenty to reflect on, of course. But first of all, we have to start. Happy New Year to everyone, 2024. Hope it brings you everything that you wished for. All your resolutions, if you're that way inclined. And if you are, let us know in the chat. What are the resolutions that you picked for 2024? I think 2024 is going to be a massive, massive year for pro wrestling. It just has that feeling about it, isn't it? It's this kind of calm before the storm and everything and all, So I think it's going to be huge. But if you could, folks, of course, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, all that good stuff if you can. And before we get started, big shout out to all you people in the chat as well for all your support over the last year. It's been absolutely relentless, and thank God for it. Really, really appreciate the effort you guys put in as well. So let's get into the show. Before we start, Sean is in. Howdy, Niall. The TNT title saved this show. It certainly did. Ian's in as always. What's the crack, my friend? Eric is in. Hello, Niall, and Happy New Year. Eric, Happy New Year to you and your family as well. Del Boy's in. Not normally Del Boy's flavor. Pro wrestling likes a little bit of it, of course. Hello, Niall. Happy New Year. Hello, all in the chat, and you, Del Boy. Hopefully, 2024 brings you everything that you want. Bar beating Liverpool in the FA Cup. We have to say that first of all. I hope Kota Ibushi is doing okay. Yeah, great shout out there. Any resolutions, people? Any resolutions? Let us know what your resolutions are. And Baz is in. Evening, bro. What's the crack? And Happy New Year. Happy to you. New Year to you, Baz, of course. Me and Baz, of course, with Grahamo, of course, and JR heading off to the Royal Rumble in this day, 3 weeks. We'll be nearly in Florida. We'll be ready for the Royal Rumble. Really looking forward to it. I can't wait. Right, let's get into some news. First of all, a little bit of heartbreaking news coming through from the other day, of course. British wrestler Mad Kurt Chapman sadly passed away at the age of 26. Such a sad age and stuff like that. No cause of death has been confirmed yet, of course. But well known for his time in Rev Pro, of course, and Progress. But we'll just detail out what Rev Pro said, their statement. I think it's really important. We watched Curtis grow from a child to a young man who loved pro wrestling and continued to excel in all aspects of his life. One of the most gifted technical wrestlers, charismatic characters, and magnetic personalities, he will never be forgotten. Cause of death, of course, is yet to be confirmed. Chapman began his wrestling career back in 2014 and soon became known for his light-hearted ring style. He went on to compete in Progress, IPW, and many more promotions across the UK. In 2018, he won the Rev Pro British Cruiserweight title, holding the belt for 6 months, a title that's held by some fantastic, if you look at the legacy of that belt, some fantastic pro wrestlers who have gone on to huge things, of course. His final match came back in June 2023, in which he successfully defended his Resurgence Art House Championship title. And tributes, of course, have been flooding in for the young man. So rest in peace, of course, Curtis Mad Kurt Chapman. Very sad, such a young age and stuff like that. So very sad to hear of his passing. We always like to mark those things when they happen because we think it's really, really important that we do that. Now, where are we? Anybody getting up early for Wrestle Kingdom? It's the dedication, isn't it? It's the dedication, Sean. I will always remember Matt Kurt for his trying moves on my brother's series, trolling EC3 and Austin Aries and shoot kicking Gangrel in the balls of Wolverhampton. Horrible loss. Yeah, absolutely. It's probably so many memories out there and stuff like that. So if you do have memories, if you're at any of the shows or you have memories from Kurt, share them in the chat, folks. It's always good to share that kind of stuff and all, So let's begin the show. Before we get into it, we'll have a little look at AEW World's End. Let me know your thoughts in the chat on AEW's World End. How did you feel about it? Just felt weird to me, but we'll go down through it. Let me know your thoughts. Sean's already hit it off the park, straight out of the baseball park up at the top there as well. But let us know your thoughts on World's End. We're also going to be talking about WWE Day 1 and some breaking news today as well from TNA. we're going to be talking about that as well. But we'll start and we'll begin, of course, with a reflection of the year. It's been the biggest year in WWE history. Highest social media views ever, highest sponsorship revenue ever, highest, we can't even see this, that'll tell you the week I've had, highest grossing ticket sales ever, highest premium live event viewership ever, highest merchandise revenue ever. So it was a stellar year for WWE this year, no doubt about it. And they're going to build on that coming into this year as well. So it's going to be absolutely monumental. Just thought I'd pop that up there as well. Also, folks, let us know your thoughts on this. This came up the other day. Sports Illustrated ranking of the top 10 pro wrestlers of 2023. Cody Rhodes comes in at number 1, Rhea Ripley number 2, MJF number 3, Trinity number 4, Will Ospreay 5, Seth Rollins 6, Niall was 7, Swerve was 8, Gunther 9, and Becky was 10. Let us know your thoughts on those rankings. Have they missed anyone? Are the rankings off? How do you feel about the Sports Illustrated Pro ranking results for 2023 top 10? Let us know your thoughts. Sean, I remember he pretended he was going to be appearing for Bloodsport and Josh Barnett was fuming. Yeah, absolutely. Morris is in. Good evening, Niall. TNA and WWE going to be working together. Morris, they certainly are. We have the statement ready to go. We will be reading it in a bit. Interesting, though. Interesting from your point of view, Morris, as well. Because we know that you have a nice little connection there that might be able to continue, and that would be really, really good for your podcast. Make sure you're checking out Morris's podcast. Some fantastic stuff going on over there. None less Booker T, Ahmed Johnson, all sorts of stuff going down at the moment. Absolutely knocking it out of the park. Ian's in. That whole devil storyline was pretty obvious, to say the least. We were talking, I think shortly after it begun, we were talking Adam Cole, where we pretty much, so we kind of knew. Goldust brother number 1. There you go, Goldust brother number 1. Cody has been directionless since Mania. Only now the program with Shinsuke has saved him. Not sure if he's number 1. A lot of people will probably agree with that, Sean. A good summary there. Eric saying World's End was all right, but a very weak pay-per-view to end the year, which has me less invested than ever in AEW leading to 2024. Aside from Revolution with Sting, I'm there is a little drawing me to the product. Yeah, last match. Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one, isn't it, Eric? Because and I suppose it didn't help going into this either. Keith Lee with the injury. The stuff, the allegations with Jericho and all, like it was just an absolute madness, and it just feels like it's starting to feel like AEW is just this big ball of NDAs where people can't say anything. It's crazy, and of course we spoke about the back and forth with Jericho and Stephen P. New and all this kind of stuff and all. It's an absolute madness at the moment. Crazy stuff. Yeah, World's End was average. If the last 3 matches weren't there, it would have been one of the worst pay-per-views of the year. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just even those last matches, when you think about the unveiling of the devil and how that all went down, it kind of distracted away from the fact that Samoa Joe is now the AEW champion. And that all got just lost in the mix. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. You come out of that pay-per-view and the talk is basically about the Jericho stuff, injuries. There was talk about, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, whatever you want to call it, isn't negotiating with them anymore, has stopped negotiating with them. Just so much kind of negative stuff coming out to the fore and stuff like that. And then on top of that, now MJF injured, and he's taken time off, and he has just vanished off the AEW roster and the AEW website, and the teasing there a few weeks ago, the fact that apparently he hadn't re-signed a new deal and all this. What does it mean for MJF? Is he working the internet community, as we call it, and all that kind of stuff? Just crazy stuff going on there at the moment with AEW. And Tony just looks, if you look at Tony in his interviews, he spends more time there with no comment and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Imagine some folks want Cody versus Roman at Mania over Rock versus Roman. But we're going to go into that. We're going to talk to people about that now as well in the chat. How do you feel? Let's slide straight in there into Raw as well. Folks, how do you feel about this? The Rock rocking up. What's going to happen? How do you see this playing out? Where does it leave Cody? If this year isn't going to be Cody's time, this Mania, when is Cody's time going to happen? Let me know in the chat what your thoughts on. Big up, Morris. Isn't MJF's gimmick the devil? It used to be, not anymore. Samoa Joe, transitional champion. That's horrible, Morris, isn't it? That's terrible. Samoa Joe, transitional champion. Such a big fan of Joe and TNA back in the day and stuff, and NXT. Joe is the last person I've thought about. Isn't that mad? Isn't that mad that Joe went in there, dethroned MJF, won the title, and it's the last thing we're talking about? Like, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy stuff. Rock and Roman shouldn't have the belt on the line. That's an interesting point. Are we thinking that Roman's going to double job at Mania? So is he going to face Cody on night one, lose the belt, and then face The Rock on night two for the head of the table title, if you like? What way do you see it playing out? Let me know. I'm open to all your opinions. Myself and Darren have been talking back and forward all week about this, trying to figure out all the permutations, stuff like that. Both of us, of course, big Roman fans. Darren's a huge Cody fan as well. I'm a Cody fan as well. And sure, look, who isn't a Rock fan? Crazy, crazy stuff. Tony wearing the wig and glass while discussing a sexual assault question. It's mad, isn't it? Isn't it mad? That'll tell you the madness of that place. Absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah, so let us know. I want to get your thoughts. First of all, you look at Roman here. Roman now, 5 years. 5 years, 5 separate years as champion. How do you feel about Roman? It's kind of ran its course now, hasn't it? It's kind of ran its course. Sean, Cody will come out and sit on the ramp and say, this isn't sour grapes. But the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania and not makes me sick. There you go. Cody can face R-Truth at the pre-show. Good Lord. Going in hard. Daz, how are you, my friend? Daz, I totally forgot in doing the show tonight as well that we had the darts final on as well. Luke Littner versus Luke Humphries, of course. It's going to be absolutely sensational. So, Daz, if you are watching both, keep us updated on how it's going, stuff like that. The young lad's set to make history. But God, my God, Luke Humphries last night. I said it the last couple of weeks now on shows. The quality of darts this year has been absolutely unbelievable. Finishes, checkouts, the whole lot. But big up, Daz. Thanks for joining us. It might have ran its course, but Cody is the main eventer. Sorry, folks. That's all right. I wasn't actually going there with it. I was saying he might have had enough time, but Cody may not be the answer. Yeah, absolutely, Morris. Eric is in. I don't think CM Punk is getting robbed of main event and Mania again. I'd imagine a guaranteed main event was one of the reasons he signed back with WWE. Could be the case. Could be the case, Eric. Good shout there as well. And we seen already, didn't we see the leak from the Royal Rumble? We spoke about it last week. The leak sheet now. We don't know how true that is and stuff like that. Could be contrived and stuff like that. Punk going in there as the winner of the Rumble. Imagine we ended up getting Punk versus Rock. My God, that would really settle things, wouldn't it? Remember he was calling for that all the time and all, and remember the storyline they had him. And by God, as good as The Rock was on the mic, Punk schooled him back then as well. He was pretty good. Just warming up now. Awesome, Das. Looking forward to getting the back end of it. If they do Rock and Roman for the belt at Mania, it will follow the same troubles as Rock Cena too. Possibly, yeah. I don't see why doing it for the belt makes any sense at all. The Rock ain't hanging around, and why would you what he does do is just this is giving the rub to the guy who doesn't need the rub. Feels Taker Brock levels, doesn't it? Tell you one thing, Jinder done a hell of a job Monday. Big fan of that guy. Now Morris, stop now. Stop. Easy. Imagine you're sitting back. What did you think, folks? You're sitting back and you're waiting for, here is the surprise, a returning champion and all this. And I think everyone was all in. Was everyone assuming, let me know in the chat, was everyone assuming Sasha Banks? I think everyone was assuming Sasha Banks, weren't they? And now comes Jinder. And I was looking at some of the boys on TikTok, Santi and the boys on TikTok and stuff like that and all. They were absolutely flabbergasted by it. It was absolutely crazy when Jinder's music hit. It was one of those, it was an oh my God moment for the wrong reason, wasn't it? An oh my God moment for the wrong reason. Let us know your thoughts. Want to get your thoughts going into 2024 as well, folks, on Muhammad Hassan vibes. Yeah, absolutely. Stayed up for Raw and had my mate on FaceTime. Nearly pissed myself from laughing so much. It was crazy, wasn't it? It was crazy. You need to record those videos, lash them up on TikTok because some of the reactions are out there. I tell you, folks, I do have to say, I seen the reaction on TikTok as well, Samantha Irvin. And when she reacted to the Rock's music when it hit, she leapt out of the sea. It was quality. She's such a big fan of the product as well, isn't she? It's great to see. Big up to Samantha Irwin. Super, super stuff. Now, I had seen The Rock with Kevin Dunn in a pick earlier in the day. That's the going away pick, is it? Or is the going away pick, as they say? I think the Rock versus Seth. Rock versus Seth should happen. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if you could peel the Rock away from Roman with the connections. And you probably certainly couldn't peel him away from the Punk situation. If that was to happen as well, because there's plenty there. Sorry, Nick Khan, not done yet. I was thinking that. I think the whole idea of finishing the story is already a meme. It is already a meme, isn't it? It certainly is. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I said this. I called this. You can talk to Morris and the boys. I called this months ago. This whole finishing this, maybe over a year ago. This whole finishing the story thing. Day one was better than the time it was a pay per view. Yeah, absolutely, Sean, it was. Let's talk about day one. Talk to me about day one. Becky Lynch getting busted open again by Nia Jax. There must be a few T-shirts in the pipeline in relation to that or something like that. But she looked as shocked as ever. Nia Jax is just dangerous, isn't she? She's just crazy. What did you make of that? Shinsuke Nakamura vowing to finish Cody Rhodes' story next week. It is, Eric. You're spot on. It is becoming a meme, isn't it? It's definitely becoming a meme. What else is in there? Ref stoppage. Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston versus Imperium. Miz TV with R-Truth on the Judgment Day. I have to say, folks, really enjoying R-Truth at the moment. He's just electric, isn't he? Funny how day one 2 years ago actually changed everything. Yeah, didn't it, Eric? Absolutely. The Becky Nia match was a really pleasant surprise. Yeah, till her face got smashed by Vince McMahon's son, Ken Kennedy, on in 3 weeks. Oh, super. Ken Anderson, huh? Very good. Good to have him on. I'd say he'll be a super guest, Morris. Really looking forward to that one. Now, make sure, folks, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to his channel and hit that bell notification. And make sure I have the alerts on. They're doing great shows at the moment, having great guests on. And really creating this buzz. Morris, if you have any links, if you have links to Ahmed Johnson's show or anything like that, drop them in there in the chat, my friend, if you want. Starting to create something over there really big, and I really like it. Shinsuke's promos are fantastic. He legitimately feels like a threat. I tell you, we wouldn't have been saying that now 6 months ago, would we? We wouldn't have been saying that 6 months ago. Brock was supposed to beat Roman, and Seth was supposed to win the WWE title. There you go. 2-1 in legs down, the young lad. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Big up, Daz. Thanks for the update. Was watching a bit of NXT, and sadly nowadays the brand has turned into kindergarten. Oh my God. Big E probably would have gone back to SmackDown, and Seth would have been Cody's first opponent after his return. Yeah, good shout, Eric. Gaming Zone channel. You waste your time. I do waste my time, don't I? Appreciate that though. Wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah, crazy. What do I want to get into now as well? Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day. What did we make of Rhea versus Ivy? I thought it was decent. I thought it was good. Rhea getting the win. Two former world champions return. First of all, we get Jinder, and then we get The Rock. Very cool. What else? Seth versus Drew. What do you make of Drew, folks? What you're thinking on Drew at the moment? Seth retaining the belt again. We kind of knew he was going to retain and stuff like that, but it's getting kind of it's getting a bit frustrating, I'd imagine, for Drew McIntyre at the moment, is it? What do we think of Velveteen's apology? I don't know if you've seen it, folks. What did you make of Velveteen Dream's apology video where he came out and basically apologized? Yeah, folks, make sure you're smashing up the like buttons as well if you can. Really appreciate that. That would be good. Daz is updated. Lost the first set 3-1. Humphries must be on fire, is he, Daz? Must be on fire. The problem with Rhea right now is no one else is being built up as a credible challenger for her, aside from Becky. Yeah, she's kind of Eric. She's kind of ran out of opponents a little bit, isn't it? And they're kind of, I don't know what's the latest. I haven't heard a whole lot about Jade Cargill either. What's the latest on Jade Cargill? If you could let me know. I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but it seems to have gone. It seems to have gone a little bit quiet. Let me know your thoughts on that as well if you've heard that. The Chosen One, Drew, finishes a story with Cody and gets released again. God, yeah, mad, isn't it? Mad. Thank God the Money in the Bank contract is a year. If it was shorter, Priest would have lost it right away. It's true as well, yeah, 100%. Honestly, I think Drew could very well be leaving the WWE unless he's content with being a mid-carder for the rest of the year. Yeah, it's kind of like when you feel it, Eric. I like that point when you kind of see the situation there at the moment. Punk's after coming back. Orton's after coming back. And everyone else seems to have just shunted down a level if you're not carrying a title. Everyone just seems to have just come down a notch from where they were. And it just feels a little bit weird, doesn't it? Feels a little bit weird. And not that it feels wrong. It just feels a bit strange. Jade is still training to be a professional wrestler, apparently, yeah. I wonder, spend some time in the performance center. I wonder, is there a lot of work there? Keep an eye on Fallon Henley. She's going to be a huge star. Big up, Kenny. Give us a good shout on that. Appreciate that. Tony has an announcement tonight about Kenny. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, of course, we wish Kenny well the other day, or the last week or the week before, wasn't it, with the diverticulitis or something like that. So it takes a bit of time to get that out of your system. I know Brock took him a long time to come around from it and stuff like that. Total lifestyle change and stuff. Lord Velveteen and the pedo allegations were never proven, but putting that aside, he was a pain to work with. I think he can get redemption, but he will cause Twitter fury if he comes back. That's exactly what I was talking about. I was having a conversation with Darren today around just before lunchtime, and we were talking about Velveteen Dream's video and the apology video and all that kind of stuff. And I was saying with WWE, the way it's positioned right now and the Endeavor stuff and all that kind of stuff, TKO and everything and all, there's no way that situation is coming full circle again. I just cannot see it. I don't think they want to draw unnecessary attention at the moment, especially where the other side of the tracks is drawing a lot of attention at the moment and the wrong attention. I don't think WWE will fancy balancing that out somehow. Tony has an announcement to make an announcement. Yeah. Is it about Stephen Kenny does? No, Morris Kenny Omega. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, hopefully it's an update that he's doing well and he's on the mend and stuff like that. Because certainly he's a big loss on AEW programming when he's not there. There's no doubt about it. And folks, let's talk about Okada. Okada's been talking again about his future in pro wrestling and stuff like that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments as well. How would you feel? Would you like to see Okada come over to the US and start wrestling there and stuff like that on a more regular basis, stuff like that? Would you like to see him? Would it be AEW? Would it be WWE? What way do you think it would end up going, and how do you feel it would go? He said, I debuted in 2004, so this is my 20th anniversary. I've come this far, no big injuries, and that's great. But I think I have less than 10 more years right at the very top. So on the way to my 30th anniversary, I have to make every day count. It'll be a bit sad to have my 20th anniversary without a belt, so I want a singles belt around my waist in 2024. I have a lot of dreams, and the biggest is to further professional wrestling. I want more people to know how great wrestling is. To do that, I have to keep having great matches and bring them to people all over the world. What's your thoughts, folks, on Okada? We spoke about him, I think, back in November, wasn't it, on a show? We spoke about Okada talking about potentially talks with WWE and all that kind of stuff. And we were asking at the time, how did we feel it would fit? What way would it work if Okada came in? How would he be booked? All that kind of stuff. At the time, we were talking about Shinsuke, and I think the shared kind of opinion at the time with the chat was that it was kind of like Shinsuke has come in, but he's kind of flattered a bit to deceive in terms of he should have been a lot more successful and be in a bigger position, maybe considering. But maybe we're starting to see some of that now, and the evolution is starting to evolve. So, Okada might be a TNA fit. Certainly would be interesting, but I'd say he's probably pitching. No disrespect to TNA, but I'd say he's probably pitching for something a bit bigger. But again, let us know your thoughts. Ian's in New Japan Pro Wrestling bringing a new title belt, IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Interesting. Looking forward to watching Okada versus Daniel Bryan tomorrow morning. Yeah, it kicks off early. What's the kickoff time for the folks? What's the kickoff time? How early is it? Now they've 2 top titles in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Interesting. And we heard as well the other day, Tony Khan talking about potentially adding more belts to AEW. How do we feel about that as well, folks? More belts in AEW. Doesn't always create the perfect recipe when you're bringing in wrestling belts. Main show starts at 7:30, so 7 a.m. according to Acers. Yeah, perfect. Acers, a small card tonight on AEW. More belts. Yeah, more belts, Eric. Yeah, that's the talk. The talk is he's bringing in more belts, which certainly will be interesting. Other news I wanted to talk about was this. This came out this evening. I'll just go full screen for it because of my eyes. But obviously, TNA Wrestling partners with WWE owner Endeavor for new streaming service. In a piece of news that wouldn't have made any sense a year ago, TNA Wrestling will be partnering with WWE owner Endeavor to relaunch its streaming service under new branding. The service, called TNA Plus, will become available on Friday, January the 5th, and will utilize the infrastructure of Endeavor Streaming, which powers UFC Fight Pass, among other services, and it's a multi-year deal. So let us know your thoughts on that. How do you feel about this? Feels like a kind of a strategic move, doesn't it? But again, let us know your thoughts. TNA coming under that umbrella. Is this Endeavor trying to circle the market and all that kind of stuff? What way? This is a kind of for me, not a strange move, but certainly an interesting move. Yeah, more belts and more wrestlers, Tony. That's what you need. Kenny, belts in AEW are more like participation trophies. They are somewhat, aren't they? Feck's sake, more titles. Yeah, absolutely. Would not be surprised to see AJ Styles cross over to TNA. That would be interesting, isn't it? Wouldn't it be really interesting if TNA comes in like that and it's kind of, you could bring guys over, like, you know, the way they pop guys down into NXT sometimes and all to bump the stuff and make it interesting and all that kind of stuff. Or if you've guys where there's not a lot of creative going on for them at the moment up on the main rosters, you can take a hiatus down in NXT, rebuild yourself up and come back again. Balor was amazing and stuff like that. And also, let us know your thoughts. But imagine AJ Styles, folks, in 2024 in a TNA ring. That would be interesting. It's an interesting move as well, because we will get into the history later, but this week in pro wrestling history actually was remember the beginning of a Monday Night Impact, if you like, or the Hogan Bischoff era, if you like. We'll talk about it a little bit later. So it's significant the way we talk about how wrestling moves in cycles, and they tend to be like decades and stuff like that and all. So it's very interesting that back in 2010, was the beginning of the Hogan Bischoff era and TNA and stuff that, and now here we are with an announcement, TNA coming under the Endeavour umbrella with WWE, and also interesting. And we heard Trinity's comments during the week as well, formerly Naomi as well, talking about how she'd be back in WWE. Is this what she meant and all that kind of stuff? Very, very interesting. And also Sasha Banks, we know she's been talking to WWE. They haven't come to a deal yet, but we know they're working on it heavily. We know that Punk took a little bit of time to get there, but eventually got there. But what do you make of Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks? Surely WWE is the only location for her to go, and the environment now should be absolutely perfect for her compared to when she left. But let us know your thoughts. 20 days to go until the 40th anniversary of Hulk Hogan on Monday Night Raw appearance. I seen that, Acers. I seen that. That is mad, isn't it? 40th anniversary. Man, still old. I've been there for the whole thing. Endeavour are going to wipe out the combat sports market. They are, aren't they? Cross the line, says Eno. Yeah, absolutely. Eric, a few WWE and TNA crossover events don't seem so far-fetched. They'd be really cool. I love those kind of crossover events. And I know Hunter is so open to doing this now, isn't he? And working with other promotions and all that kind of stuff. So that would be really, really cool. But it's a massive opportunity. Let's see. It's going to be exciting to see how this unfolds. My brother's birthday is next week, so I got him a cameo from Nick Gage reading Wallace and Gromit quotes. Good Lord. My God, John. That is crazy. Happy birthday to your brother. Make sure you remind us next week. We can miss shout out. So will WWE have a 6-sided ring? No. I wouldn't have thought so somehow. I wouldn't have thought so. NXT versus TNA Worlds Collide pay-per-view happening in 2024. Yeah, interesting. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Cool. But you'd have to put a sprinkling in there, wouldn't you? You'd have to have like AJ Styles, and you'd have to really star it out and stuff like that, which would be really cool. Morris, I think Triple H's announcement this week will be about TNA. Yeah, I'd imagine so. It has to be kind of. He's been beaten to it basically, but I would imagine so. Also, talk as well. I was reading today. Talk as well that was an on Bleacher Report on one of them or something reporting that The Rock is open to multiple appearances and all that kind of stuff. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon, so that's going to be interesting as well. Can't believe he showed up for a cameo, Sean. Absolutely. He'll probably hate it, although hearing Nick Gage saying no cheese grommet is amazing. Oh my God, cameo is mad, isn't it? Daz is in with an update. 1-1 in sets, 8 180s. Massive score in this darts. This year's darts going to be crazy. But yeah, folks, we'll keep an eye on this. A TNA partnering up an Endeavour under that umbrella with WWE as well is going to be very, very interesting to say the least. An interesting move, and one I'm sure Tony Khan must be a little bit anxious about, I would imagine. Going to be interesting. Right, take some history. Bit of history and a bit of notable birthdays, and then we let all you darts fans head off back to the World Championships course, being absolutely sensational. So let's start off. 2007 Monday Night Raw was held in Miami, Florida, and following interference, this one I hated. Sean, let me know your thoughts on this. Following interference from both Johnny Nitro and Umaga, rest in peace Umaga, of course, K-Fed picked up the win by pinning Cena in the middle of the ring. Who remembers that K-Fed? My God, absolutely horrific. Tony should have went for Impact over ROH. In theory, he probably should have went for both. LM Gaming's in. Up Niall, interesting question. After Punk's return to WWE, I really feel like there will never be a more surreal moment in wrestling. Thoughts? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We are out the door with Punk orders and Punk merchandise. He truly is one of those guys that moves the needle. But yeah, I suppose the other surreal moment coming up is if he gets his WrestleMania moment, that would probably top his comeback, I would imagine. But yeah, no, you're spot on. CM Punk. Wow, what wrestling since Survivor Series? It's just been. It's been crazy, hasn't it? There's just a buzz about it again. That's what I'm saying. Going into 2024, I think 2024 is going to be huge for pro wrestling. Absolutely huge. And very exciting on a number of levels. In saying that, Australia government are willing to fund Rock whole trip, 6 million. Yeah, seen that. Yeah, Darren was on about that earlier as well, the chamber and all and stuff like that. It was Australia. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But I believe they're struggling, aren't they? Are they struggling on the chamber ticket sales? I think Darren was saying as well. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, let's see what happens. But this one I'm talking about, this is so exciting at the moment. These live paper, few events around the world and all. The ultimate needle mover. Yeah, there you go, Morris. Absolutely. 1983, in the main event of New Japan Pro Wrestling Weekly Show in Tokyo, Japan, Antonio Inoki defeated Jesse Ventura. We spoke about Jesse Ventura last week, of course, with the Pop and the Predator and all that kind of stuff as part of the Collector's Corner. 2017, in the main event of WWE SmackDown in Jacksonville, Florida, Dean Ambrose defeated The Miz to win the Intercontinental Championship. Seems like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it? Sean, Kevin Federline, that's the name I haven't heard for a long time. Sean, when I seen it, I had to pop it in there just because it's just one of those ones. It was just so weird. It feels even weirder now when you've looked at the Britney documentary and stuff like that. It's crazy. 1999, the night of the infamous finger poke of doom. This was the moment that many see as the turning point in the Monday Night Wars between the WWF and the WCW. This week, finger poke of doom, folks. Let us know your thoughts. A match is being made for Collision. Update the stars if it's in there. Give it to us. Pop it in there, no problem. Forgiven on this occasion. Absolutely. 45,000 already sold, 20,000 left to sell out, but Rock will sell out immediately once match is confirmed for Elimination Chamber. Yeah, that's what Darren was saying today. You pop him on the card and boom, electric. I don't even think K-Fed was promoting anything. No, it was just weird, wasn't it? It was crazy. It was just out of nowhere, wasn't it? As they say. 2010, the day that the Monday Night War re-emerged, really, albeit very briefly. The date marked the eagerly anticipated debut. I love the way they word these things. The eagerly anticipated debut of Hulk Hogan along with Eric Bischoff in TNA Wrestling. The show also played host to a number of surprise debuts and returns, including Ric Flair, Jeff Hardy, Sean Waltman, Shannon Moore, Sean Morley, Scott Hall, the Nasty Boys, and Orlando Jordan. The eagerly anticipated debut. I used to love TNA. Who do you think can save AEW now? I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone out there that's a case of saving it. I think AEW was on the pathway to a big reset. And I think they're going to have to reset what they're doing. And they're going to have to figure out their positioning in the world of sports entertainment. And they're going to have to provide you, similar to what TNA and Ring of Honor and all did back in the day. They found their level and they provided you with an alternative. I think the days. I think competing with WWE is that horse is bolted already. There's very little chance of that now. WWE at the moment is just putting out stellar stuff week after week. Live premium event after pay-per-view event after everything else. They just you look at what WWE look at us sitting here now. The anticipation for the Royal Rumble, the anticipation for the Elimination Chamber, the anticipation for Mania in Philly and all. How are you supposed to compete against that? And sandwiched in between that, we've got a Sting retirement match. That's really what people are looking towards. Eric said it earlier. His interest in it is waning, and he's really only interested now in the Sting retirement match and how that flows and stuff like that. Like you even look the other day at World's End, and you're looking at that match where Edge gets the belt but doesn't leave the building with the belt. It's the kind of shittery of the way they do stuff, isn't it? It's just crazy, you know what I mean? And it's so sad what's happened to Kota Ibushi. Hopefully his surgery keeps denying himself. Yeah. Absolutely. David Arquette shits all over K-Fed. David Arquette, good lord. You know the story where I was supposed to meet him and two guys attacked him and he got a concussion. Crazy at WrestleCon. Mad. FTR versus House of Black tag match. Nice. Do like that. he gets the surgery. Yeah, absolutely. All course of thoughts with Kota Ibushi, of course. What a fabulous performer. Acers, Cody Rhodes, only hope for Cocaine Can. I can't see that. There's no way he got back there. He couldn't. He looks. Imagine sitting in WWE, even if you're a mid carder in WWE. Apart from going chasing the bag of money, what would get you to make that decision to go over there? Like, even we spoke about Drew McIntyre earlier in the show. Even Drew McIntyre contemplating his future in pro wrestling and where he should be and what he should do. Would you really see Drew McIntyre leaving WWE and going to AEW? Apart from the bag, park the offer. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems weird. And you look at all these people at the moment who have gone out there into the free market. Their 90 days is up and stuff like that. We haven't seen any of that evolve yet. Sure, we haven't yet. So it's kind of strange the way that's gone as well. He finished his story in the minor leagues. Can you see? How do you do that? Like, how do you do that? You couldn't. 2010. Have a little slide for this actually. So I'm gonna pop the slide up for this one. You will enjoy this one, of course. In history, we like to do that. 2010, hell froze over, as the shirt says. You've seen the shirt. Hell froze over on Monday Night Raw as Bret Hitman Hart made his first appearance in WWE ring since the infamous Montreal Screwjob in November 1997. Hart acted as the guest host of Raw, and in the opening segment, he buried the hatchet with Shawn Michaels in one of the greatest opening segments in Raw history. Talking about hell frozen over. Look at that picture there, folks. Does that picture look like a guy who's burying the hatchet? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. 1-0 young lad, third set, 9 180s, 3 for Humphrey, 6 for the young lad. Well, starring is crazy. Cocaine Can Afro was ridiculous at AEW World, and yeah, Morris said it earlier, Racers. Crazy. Maybe Triple H, he can trade Cody to Impact for a feud of PCO. Oh, God. Eric is thinking Drew Galloway is all elite. Can you imagine? The chosen one going out to reinvent himself again? I don't know. I wonder how much the level of frustration is there, you know? You're sitting there, you won the belt, COVID, there's no fans, it's horrible, you know? You're doing everything you can. You come out of that situation. You're being brought to the river, but you're just not allowed to drink from it so many times, and frustration builds and all that kind of thing. Kenny Brett looks like he's contemplating where hell Barry said hatchet. Yeah, absolutely. Does that look like a guy that does a bag of cash waiting at the gorilla position for him? It was crazy. And the balls on Sean as well. The balls on, and Sean decked out in all the DX gear as well. Good Lord. Bret Hart probably kicked Vince McMahon in the nuts before that entrance on Raw. I don't know. He probably would have been smiling more. But Drew should take a leaf out of Sheamus' book, his mate. Just be happy you work for the biggest company in the world. Absolutely. And Sheamus has had like stellar career. And may still find his way to the Intercontinental belt. Who knows? Let's continue with our history. 1996. This is for you, Sean. This is for you. 1996 ECW House Party was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and featured the ECW debut of Rob Van Dam, who would beat Axel Rotten on the show. There you go, Sean. I put that in there for you to make up for the K-Fed stuff. Don't think that Eric is far off. Absolutely not. Could easily happen. Daz has given us 2-1 Humphreys at the moment. Interesting. It's evolving. 1995, Macho Man Randy Savage made his WCW in-ring debut, defeating Avalanche. I've never till this day gotten over the switch. Always struggled to get over that switch. 2014, WWE presented Old School Raw from Baltimore, Maryland. Rowdy Roddy Piper interviewed The Shield on his Piper's Pit segment. It's absolutely class, Piper. Roman Reigns defeated CM Punk, and just as the rest of the Shield was about to join in on the beating down Punk, Jake the Snake Roberts made a goosebump-inducing appearance. It was unbelievable, Jake coming out with the snake, culminating in Roberts placing his pet snake on a smiling Dean Ambrose. There you go. Remember Jake's music and he came out with the snake in the back. It's incredible. Love those old school. They should do more of those old school Raws. They're cool. Bring them back. 2002 WWF Monday Night Raw was held at Madison Square Garden, New York. You'll remember this one because this is one of my favorite of all-time wrestling moments. You know how big a Triple H fan I am, so you know where I'm going with this. This show would mark the return to the company for Triple H, the game. And if you remember, when you talk about crowds and you talk about wrestling pops and all those kinds of things, do you remember, wasn't it JR who preempted it? Triple H returns next. And when the music hit and he came out and he was gigantic, he had eaten all the good stuff and he was absolutely enormous. I think he had like 3 jackets on him. But it was an unbelievable comeback, and it's one I go back and I watch it occasionally and stuff like that. Just the chills it gave you when the music hit and he came out and all and stuff like that, and the crowd just were insane. So when we talk about crowds popping, that's one that I always revert back to and stuff like that. The return of the game, 2002 Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden after being gone for almost a year. Went from the previous April right till that, but came back and was an absolute machine. I'd say he done more than eat the good stuff back then. Absolutely. Eating all the good stuff, all of it. 2 years ago today, Brock Lesnar said, South Carolina, acknowledge me. My God, Brock. When Brock turns it on, he's crazy, isn't he? Isn't he crazy? South Carolina, acknowledge me. Crazy, crazy stuff. Right, let's kick some notable birthdays, folks, and then we get you out of here. You can enjoy the rest of your evening. Not that you're not enjoying it with my company, but I'm certainly enjoying it with yours. 1977, notable birthdays this week. 1977, Robert Roode, Bobby Roode, of course. 1943, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. 1963, a man who has sadly left us for you, Sean Newjack, celebrates his birthday this week. 1952, Jim Ross. 1958, one half of the Young Stallions, if I'm remembering right, with Paul Roma, Jimmy Powers, celebrates birthday this week. Jacqueline, 1966. Conan, who's been absolutely knocking it out of the park podcast-wise as well, Conan. 1964 celebrates his birthday this week. And, of course, 1949, Chavo Guerrero Sr. rounds out our notable birthdays for this week. There you have it, folks. Another show inside the hour, which is how I tend to like it. Keep it going good. If you can, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the way out as well, folks. Really important that you drop that like as well. And of course, share the content around. We are live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at the same time simultaneously. Audio versions of the show are up the next day on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Amazon Music. You'll find us there, the upper tier as always. Hope you enjoyed the show. Have a safe evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night, Thursday Tier Talk. I'll be back with Darren. We're going to be talking about the AFCON. We're going to be talking about FA Cup preview. We'll have a special FA Cup Beat the Bookie, all that kind of stuff. And we'll be talking about transfers, everything, whatever you want to talk about in the show. Remember, these shows are about you guys in the chat, direct it, whatever you want us to talk about. Really enjoyed your company, as I said, in 2023. Hope it continues into 2024. Roll on the Rumble. Things getting real exciting in wrestling at the moment. That's Triple H announcement. Tony Khan. Where will I start? I don't want to miss anyone. Yeah, Tony Khan needs to hire Diego Simeone. Imagine. Triple H's announcement tomorrow. Yeah, I reckon it's probably TNA. Night, my friend. Thank you. TNA, TNA. That's what's incoming. Night, looking forward to the next one. Appreciate you there, Eric, all the time, my friend. Have a safe one. Kenny's in. Great show as always. Cheers, Kenny. Don't forget, Kenny, we'll be keeping updates on the books and stuff like that. And don't forget to keep us updated. Great show. Happy New Year. As we are now over and out. We are just one time for Eno. We will say it. 2-0 to the young lad in legs from Daz. We are Eno over and out. Big shout out to Eno, of course. Talk to you again real soon, folks. Cheers.